Hey there, and welcome to episode 133 of the Unapologetic Mompreneur podcast. If the thought of networking has ever made you feel awkward, anxious, or like it's just not for you, the interview I have for you today might just change your perspective. Because networking doesn't have to mean standing up, delivering a pitch, and trying to sell yourself in a room full of strangers. And that is exactly what my guest and friend Martina Darling and I are diving into today. Founder of Women Inspired Network, a relaxed and welcoming networking space for women that is built on genuine connection, not competition, Martina has created a community where collaboration is the focus, where women truly support each other, and where even the most introverted business owner can feel comfortable walking into the room. And what she's built in just over a year is honestly just incredible. In this conversation, we are diving into why traditional networking doesn't work for so many women, what actually creates meaningful connections in business, and how to find your people instead of forcing yourself into spaces that don't feel aligned. We also talk about growing a business alongside motherhood and what it really looks like behind the scenes, juggling all of the things. So if you have ever thought that networking just isn't for me, or you've been forcing yourself into spaces that don't feel aligned, you are going to see things very differently after this. Because the connections that change your business don't come from a polished pitch. They come from real conversations, trust, and relationships. Let's dive in. Welcome to the Unapologetic Mompreneur, the podcast for mums with an online business who are ready to take back their time, home, business, and self so they can restore the balance and thrive, both at home and at work, without feeling like they have to choose between the two. I'm your host, Sarah Dew, life and biz coach for mumpreneurs. I'm also a mum, stepmom, wife, introvert, breast cancer survivor, and your mentor for making a change for the better. I've learned how to go from surviving to thriving and unapologetically create a business I love and the life I want for me and my family without worrying about what other people think. And now I'm here to help you do the same. Because being an unapologetic mompreneur doesn't mean that we're selfish or that we don't care about others. It simply means that we are not afraid to show up as our true, authentic selves, to step into our purpose, do what we know is right for ourselves and the ones we love, and take the steps we need to take to make our dream life and business a reality. Join me each week where I'll be sharing all of my best tips and strategies, plus the occasional dose of tough but gentle love to help you feel empowered, motivated, and confident to take action so that you can become the mum, wife, biz owner, and woman you know you are meant and deserve to be. So, are you ready to unapologetically create a business and life you love? Let's do this. So, hey Martina, welcome to the Unapologetic Mompreneur podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited.
Amazing. And me too. We've been talking about wanting to do this for ages, and I'm so excited that it's finally happening. And you've got some amazing things going on that I cannot wait to dive into today with you and just hear about everything. Before we do, for anyone who is listening that hasn't met you before, do you want to just share a little bit about you, your business, what you've built over the past year or so? Because when I look at what you've created in such a short space of time, it just blows me away. It's incredible. So take us back. What made you decide to go out on your own, create Women Inspired Network, and just, yeah, tell us all the things.
Okay, so hi, I am Martina Darling. I am the owner of Women Inspired Network, which is a women's networking group for women in business who might be a little bit anxious, maybe they're introverted business owner, something a little bit different to the usual networking that you see out there. I have been running Women Inspired Network for just over a year, and as you said, it has completely exploded over that year. I'm actually in total shock. I am overwhelmed. I'm mind blown by how quickly it has grown. But previous to that, I used to run networking events for a company. It was more of a franchise. And I guess that was me dipping my toe in. I ran those for about 2 to 3 years, really loved it. But I think when you work for someone else, And I know we've had this conversation before. When you work for someone else, it's not building your dream, it's building someone else's dream. And what's the point in that? I couldn't expand, I couldn't go to where I wanted to working for someone else. So I took the plunge and I just did it. I just took that leap. So scary, but it was so worth it. And I always said, right, we'll start with the first location that I always ran my networking events in. And when we get to 20 people, I'll expand to another area. And my first event, we had 45 women. It was incredible. I was so shocked. So I immediately started looking for another location. So we moved to another location about half an hour away. And now, as it stands, we have 10 locations over Suffolk and Cambridge. And it's growing as well. I'm actually going with someone to look for a new location this afternoon. So it's just growing and growing and growing and growing.
It's just incredible to have seen. And yeah, I went to that first event. I was so excited for you because I went to the previous network group with you before. And to turn up and there was that 45 women was just wow. It was just incredible. And seeing that you've just how fast you like you say, it's literally exploded. Watching your journey has just been amazing. And it's taken us a while to sort out dates to get on the podcast, but I'm glad it's now because there was just so much goodness in that I want to dig into with you. So I know that you've mentioned about the let's talk about networking for a second before we dive into all the different locations. And I had a 10. I hadn't realized it was as many. That is just, yeah, I saw you'd opened up another one the other day. So exciting that you've got one that looking at this afternoon as well. So, but you've said before that you feel like traditional networking doesn't work for a lot of people, and for people that are nervous and introverted and that. And so what have you seen happening in the network spaces that you've been into that made you think that this needs to change and that you wanted to do Women Inspired differently?
So it was even working for the company that I used to work for. I used to see all the time people used to book on, and people like friends that I knew who I knew were really anxious. They'd book on, they'd book on, they'd book on, and every month there'd be an excuse. Oh, I'm not feeling very well. Oh, I've got to take my dog to the vets. Oh, the kids aren't very well. Oh, and I knew that these were all just excuses, and it was just that they were nervous. And I didn't want to be rude and say, look, hang on a minute. I know you're just nervous. Just come on, like, come with me. Like, it's fine. But they were just nervous. So I saw people not turn up a lot. I saw people when they did turn up, sit in the corner of the room on their own, scrolling on their phone. I saw people leave early because they were really afraid of that awkward moment at the end where it kind of finishes and the structure ends, and then you are in that limbo moment of, oh, now I've got to go and actually speak to people of my own free will. So yeah, I was seeing all this kind of behavior, and I just thought, hang on, there's a real gap in the market here. Why can't we create something for that person? Because all of these wonderful women have amazing businesses and they deserve to be able to network too. It doesn't have to just be stuffy corporate business card exchange type of networking. So I just thought, well, let's make it really okay for the anxious business owner. So in our networking, we don't do any public speaking. You do not have to stand up and tell the room what you do and then sit down. First of all, that creates a lot of overwhelm. You're even myself, like you're sitting there waiting for your turn. You're waiting for your turn. You're like anxious. You're thinking, oh my gosh, what am I going to speak about? How am I going to put my business forward to someone in 30 to 60 seconds and do it justice and tell people what I'm really about and sell to people in that 30 to 60 seconds? But in reality, not only is it a worrying time for someone, you're not listening to everybody else because you're thinking, right, this is what I'm going to say, this is what I'm going to say, this is what I'm going to say. You're not actually listening to everybody else. So then when it comes to you speaking, no one's listening to you because they're either worried about what they're going to say or they're thinking, oh, I've got to pick the kids up from school at this time. I've got to do this for dinner. I need to quickly pop to the shops on the way home. They're not thinking about, oh, this person's business is lovely. I could connect with them. So there's no public speaking at Women Inspired Network for that reason. That's not what it's about. That doesn't create connection. What creates connection is that one-on-one or small group networking where you're getting to know about the person's life, about their kids, about what they've done that day, making everyone feel very comfortable. And that's where the magic happens because people are off their guard. They're not selling to anybody. Imagine when you get a cold sales call, like, or let's be more realistic now, on Facebook Messenger or Instagram, you get a message saying, hey, come and join my business or come and buy my product. Here's the link. You completely back off and you're like, no, 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 I've never met you before. You don't know anything about me. And it's the same with networking. So the first time you meet someone, you want to do them the decency of getting to know them as a person and make them feel like you like them as a person. I mean, you might not like everybody, don't get me wrong, but get to know that person on a deeper level before you start selling to them, because otherwise they're just going to do exactly the same thing as what we do on Instagram and back off.
Absolutely. And those DMs are worse, the worst. Like you come in, you think there it is, and instantly you just delete it, don't you? You take no notice. And yeah, I completely agree with the standing up and introducing yourself. That absolutely terrifies me. And the very first time I came to your event, it's an hour drive for me, but I did it because I knew I needed to get out there again. But I was driving there all the way, wanting to turn around and come back. And I'm so glad that I didn't. And yeah, to know that with your events you don't have to stand up and do those speeches, because that absolutely terrifies me. And you're right, you spend that time thinking about what you're going to say. You're not really invested in what everybody else is saying. So I love the way that you've completely flipped the model, that there's no pressure pitches standing up, and that it is about those like one-on-one or two or three people in a group conversations, and you can really see the difference that it makes with the connections that they're building and the collaborations that come about from it as well. So are there some things that you've seen happen when women feel safe to open up and connect properly?
Every single session, and bear in mind, we have 10 sessions a month. Every single session, at least one pair of people come together and start working together. It's incredible. It melts my heart, because when you're off your guard, when you're not selling to someone, and when you're actually talking to people about who your ideal client is and who you want to connect with, that person in the room might not be the person that you want to connect with, but they might know the person. And
Mm.
if you've got to know them on a deeper level, they're actually more likely to recommend you to their friend than someone who's just gone in with a sales pitch. And so, yeah, the collaborations are they are very frequent, because you're getting to know someone on a deeper level and everyone's so excited. I normally give people a little question for people that are nervous. Okay, so in your small groups of 1-to-1 or threes or fours, talk about who your ideal client is and talk about who you'd love to collaborate with in an ideal world, or who's your dream collaboration. And then when they find their dream collaborator and then they start collaborating, it's amazing.
Yeah, I've seen so many collaborations, and I've done collaborations with people that I've met through your network as well. And it's so powerful. And like you say, it's not about it's a longer game. You have to be invested, don't you? And know have those connections and get to know each other. And it's who they know, and then who they know, and who they know, and then they're out speaking to someone. And because they've had that time to have those conversations and get to know you properly, they trust you quicker. They feel like they know you and your business. So they're like, no, that's who you need to speak to. And yeah, I'll have to introduce you. And it is so, so powerful. So if someone's listening and thinking networking isn't for me, or I've had bad experiences in the past, or I've never done it, but I know I need to get out there, but they're nervous, they're introverted, what would you say to them?
I would say find the right networking group for you. They don't all have to be public speaking. They don't all have to be walking into a room full of strangers and trying to sell to as many people as possible. If you're introverted and if you're anxious, that's not going to be your vibe. That's not my vibe. So find your tribe, as they say, find the networking group for you. It depends on your location, but there are a few out there that are like us, that are less pressured. Um, so yeah, I would say the hardest part is turning up. First of all, book your ticket, but I mean, anyone can do that. Anyone can spend the money on a ticket. Anyone can put their bank details in and actually book a ticket and put it in their diary. It's actually turning up. So actually turn up. And if you get really anxious about that, try and go with a friend. See if a friend wants to come with you and meet a friend there, because walking in with someone is what you need to get you in the room. If that is the case, then do it, because it gets you in the room. And once you're in the room, everyone is generally so friendly. Our events I just attract the most wonderful group of women. Honestly, I don't know what it is. And everyone always says to me, you just have the most amazing women in the room. And they're all so
Oh,
kind and they're all so supportive and they're all cheering each other on and they're all giving each other tips and trying to recommend each other naturally. So once you're in the room, that's the hard part. So yeah, and I mean with our events, we have the online directory as well. So that's really useful because you know what everyone does a little bit beforehand. You can go and connect with them beforehand. You can go stalk them on social media. You can then when you get there, you recognize a few faces, which puts a lot of people at ease as well. But I would say my main tip is turn up. Just book the ticket and turn up because once you've been once, you'll want to go again and again and again. And if it's not your vibe, and if you go to one that isn't quite what you thought it was, and it isn't what you like, your style, then you just don't go again. That's fine. But networking is, like you said, is so powerful. The connections, the people that are going to recommend you is so much more authentic than Google.
yeah, definitely. And I'm glad you mentioned a directory because I wanted to ask about that because I think that's something that's definitely worth sharing that you do that I haven't seen anyone else do. And it just takes away that pressure if you're new going. And I think for me as well, looking at it is knowing and being able to see the faces first. So when you're walking into that room, that even if you don't know them, it still doesn't feel so scary because you can actually see in advance who it is that's going and have some idea of who you want to connect with already and talk to. So yeah, I think that's so powerful that you have that directory. And then you also have the pop-up little Facebook group chat as well, don't you? Where you bring everybody in that's going on that session that they can chat with each other and share links and stuff afterwards. So yeah, that definitely I love that so much. So I know you've obviously got all of your groups and you do the online networking as well, but you've also got the success circle that you launched early this month, wasn't it? Beginning of this month, you launched. So, and again, watching that journey's been so exciting. But they're two very different things, aren't they? They serve a two very different group of people. So, do you want to just share what the difference is between the two of them and why you felt that there was a need for both?
Okay, so our regular, I call them regular. I mean, that probably doesn't do it much justice, but I call them the regular Women Inspired Network groups. They're ad hoc, pay as you go. You can pick and choose which ones you go to. There's no commitment. And yeah, they're very light-hearted, relaxed, and for anyone at any stage of the business journey. So you could just have a business idea. You're welcome at those events. You could be a really established business or a CEO of a big company. You're also welcome at those events. So the Women Inspired Network groups are for everyone and anyone who want to connect and spread the word far and wide about your business. You never know who's going to attend those events. You could have, you know, four utility warehouse people, which is quite usual, to be quite honest. But equally, you could have someone that you had never even thought of that would help your business. So you get a huge mix of people at those events. However, I saw another gap in the market where there's the more established business owner, maybe someone who's been in business for a few years, who's got a bit of experience behind them, who wants those next level deeper connections. And that's where the Success Circle was born. So the Success Circle is an exclusive networking membership for women in business who are a little bit more established. They I saw a lot of power in seeing the same person again and again and again. And like we've both done a lot of networking, that is where the magic happens when you see the same person again and again. And I always say, come to the events consistently because that's where you're going to see real results in your business. That's where people are really going to recommend you. So the Success Circle totally runs along that theme. So you're seeing the same people again and again and again for the year, every month, month in, month out, and it's exclusive per industry. So there's only one person per industry. You don't have four utility warehouse people, you just have one. And it just means that in that room, you are the go-to expert in what you do. So we have one EFT tapping lady, we have one photographer, we have one utility warehouse person, we have one merchandise person, we have one mindset coach, we have, so you get where I'm going with it. There's only one person per industry. So to everybody in the room, everyone is recommending these people to all of their network. That's huge. And the more you see someone, the more rapport you get with people, the more relationship building happens. So, and already, like you said, it only started. Our first event was the 1st of April. And we have already had, from that first event, we've already had 5 or 6 collaborations. We've had 3 or 4 people buying from each other. I didn't realize how powerful it was going to be until we got there. And I've just watched what's happened since. So I'm really, really excited. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not cheap. It's not a cheap option. And I've priced it that way so that it doesn't attract like newbies in business, and that it's been very strategic that way. But you get what you pay for with networking. I always say that, like I know you're running networking as well. Our networking events attract a very different person to a networking event that's free.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And it's investing, isn't it? It's not just investing price tag, it's an investment in you, an investment in your business, an investment to grow, to connect and to collaborate with each other. So yeah, I love what you're doing with Success Circle already. And seeing just the amazing results you have just shows the power of that continuity of seeing the same people month in, month out. So in just over a year, you've expanded into multiple locations, running online events, launching the Success Circle, the podcast, which we're going to talk about in a moment as well, and your blog, which is just, it blows my mind that you've done so much. And yeah, it's incredible. What has been the biggest shift that has allowed you to grow at that level?
Having leaders, I think. So I had been running all the events myself. I would say we had about 5 events a month that I was running up until December, up until Christmas, just gone. And then previously, in my business mind, I always thought, okay, so year 5, I'll have leaders. I'll start introducing leaders at year 5. But it got to October, November time, and I was like, oh, I'm really struggling. I'm running the show myself, and I can't be everywhere. I've got 2 young kids. I'm looking after an elderly grandparent. I can't be everywhere all the time. So I need to let go of my control freak inside of me and let people in to help me. And so now I have a lead. I have 4 leaders and growing, or is it 5 leaders and growing? Like, we are expanding at a crazy speed. And that is 100% what has changed or scaled my business, because now it's not just me shouting about it. I've got 5 or 6 of us shouting about it. And they're selling tickets to their events. And it's just growing and growing and growing like that. So I would say, yes, having leaders is the one thing that's changed my business.
Yeah, absolutely. And it, like you say, it makes it easier because we cannot do it all. And it can be hard sometimes to let go. But if we, fellow control freak here, I really struggle. I know that I need to hire a VA. Have I done it yet? No, because I don't want to relinquish control. But we have to if we're allowing ourselves to grow. And yeah, so I would definitely agree. And it's been amazing seeing that all of the leaders running their events stepping it into their own and just how far and quickly it's spreading already. So now I know that your youngest, your daughter, has been with you at the network events literally from day one. And she's been there on your hip, wandering around. And now she's that little bit older. She rings the bell for you in the different sessions to let us know it's time to move to different groups. And in true unapologetic mompreneur style, I absolutely love that. What has including your daughter in your business taught you or even shown you about yourself? And what do you think about when she's growing up watching you? What does that mean to you?
Oh my gosh. I would say she is the reason. I know I've got 2 kids, so I say this lightly, but she is the reason I'm growing this at such a speed. Like you say, she came to her first event when she was 10 days old. Yes, I was mad. Looking back on it, what on earth was I doing? I had just had a baby. I was asking my husband if he could drive me to the event because I couldn't really drive. And I brought a 10-day-old to a networking event. Anyways, as a result, she has been every single month since she's been 10 days old. And she's watching mummy build an empire. She's watching mummy build a business to a scale that most people would have said wasn't possible. Most people think stereotypically that only men can do this. But I'm teaching her, no, you can go and follow your dreams, follow your heart. You can do whatever you want. If you put your mind to it, you are totally capable, because she can sit there and go, mummy did that, so I can do that.
Absolutely. That's so empowering as well, isn't it? Because we're taught from such an early age that this is the only way that you should do things, and you've got to go to college and university and blah and do everything else. But actually, because of that, sometimes you're putting all your own dreams on hold and thinking, maybe I'm not able to do this. This isn't what I really want to do. So to her, see you do that every single day and every single meeting that you go to with her, it must be just so like inspiring, empowering to her as well. And just growing up, and she probably doesn't know it yet, but she's probably super proud of mummy already, of what mummy does, and just be in total awe of this. Like, but it must be so great for her confidence and her, for her growing up and being surrounded by lots of people from such a young age and being out exploring the world and seeing all these things is just going to be so incredible for her. So for mums that are listening who feel like they have to choose or separate the two, what would you say to them?
Absolutely not. You're totally right in what you say. Society tells us we have to go to university. I mean, don't get me wrong, I did go to university, but do I use it now? Not really. Go to university, get a job, work for someone else, build someone else's dreams, just get paid. Whereas I don't know anybody that's self-employed. I didn't know, so I just assumed you go to work, you work for someone else. But actually, if you want to be a present mum, if you want to be there for the school runs, if you want to be able to say, oh, I'm having today off and not have to ask for permission, and you have an idea of something you're super passionate about that you think you can make into a business, I mean, don't get me wrong, it takes time. We say that I've grown this business over a year, but I haven't. I've grown this business over 3 years because I was doing networking before and I started to build my confidence and my network doing it for someone else. So it does take time, but you totally can do it. And don't think that you're not good enough to work for yourself and build an absolute empire because you can. You surround yourself with the right people, come networking, do all the things that we've done for our businesses, and anyone can do it. There's no magic formula. It's just get out there and do it and have the confidence.
I love that. I love that so much. So you were part of my Biz Mentoring program last year. I would love to ask you from your perspective, what difference did that have with the level of support and accountability make for you? Was there a moment where something really clicked or shifted for you during that time?
Oh my gosh, yes. So many, really. I think as mums with businesses, we have a to-do list that is as long as your arm, and we never get through it. And I think you really highlighted to me that actually, with the time that I've got, the things that I was achieving were actually really good. Like, I was actually achieving quite a lot considering the amount of time that I had, but I never actually sat back and thought about that because when you're on your own, you just think, oh my God, I've not achieved everything that I needed to achieve today. And you just think that every day. And you start to think, oh gosh, I'm really behind. I'm really behind. But when I was talking to you and the accountability and the WhatsApp chats, like the wins, it just highlights that you have achieved things during the week and you have made steps with your business and you have moved your business forward. I mean, I know when I was doing Bizmentum, I was actually trying to run about 3 businesses full on 100%, all 3 businesses at the same time. I was running craft fairs, I was doing my Forever Living aloe vera business and the networking. And you just made it super simple and broke it down for me. And I kind of feel like, why did I not think about this myself? But it's not until someone external says to you from fresh eyes, right, okay, let's break it down. Let's put it week by week. What do you need to achieve that week? What are your deadlines? Let's put in what you need as a bare minimum. Right, now let's put in what you want to achieve. And right now let's put in what the good stuff that is the extras. But it wasn't until I had that accountability and also the texts, on the group chat saying, have you achieved this week? And I'd be like, oh my God, no, quick, do it now. But it just keeps you accountable and you
Mm.
naturally forget as a mum what you've got to achieve. I don't have it on my fridge to say, it's all in your head, isn't it? And all on your phone or
Mm.
so having someone there to keep you accountable was absolutely priceless for me. But also the confidence to give me confidence that actually I was achieving a lot and I was making differences in my business. And I did achieve so much more by doing it as well. Because when you're left to your own devices, The kids become ill one day, so you just don't do anything that day. You need to do the food shop, maybe you get stuck in traffic, that's the morning gone. Whereas when I had the accountability of, right, this is what I said I would do this week, this is how I'm going to achieve my goals, then that's when it all started to happen. And actually, it meant that I was planning to be done before the summer holidays. So I got to spend a lot more time with the kids, much more present over the summer holidays than what I would normally spend because I had planned it in advance.
Yeah, I love that. It was just amazing to see you come into the summer that was like your biggest win overall was actually you'd got all of your summer prep done, all of your posts and everything that you needed to do that you would have normally probably been trying to fight over the summer, that you were able to spend that time with your kids. And that just lit me up so much seeing that for you and just seeing what you were sharing over the summer break was incredible. And I think you're right, it's just having someone by your side, isn't it? Of like there is that accountability of, oh crap, I haven't done that yet. I need to get that done this week. But also to celebrate the wins because we just keep pushing and we just don't take a moment to pause and think how much we've accomplished and achieved. But so you've got so much going on right now. What is next for Women Inspired Network? I need to know. Everybody needs to know what's next. Tell us about your podcast. What are your plans?
So the podcast has been on the cards for quite a while. We've recorded about 6 episodes so far, but only one official podcast has come out. But I wanted to be very smart with how I was working with the content because it's great content having a podcast. Podcast means there's a video. So there's a YouTube channel as well. If you prefer video content, I much prefer video content personally. So there is a YouTube channel with the podcast on it. There is also the podcast for audio available on Spotify and Apple at the minute, and I think Amazon. So yeah, available on multiple platforms. And then that also comes with the blog as well, because let's be honest, it's kind of the same thing and it's all good evergreen content, isn't it? It's all good SEO, it's all good searchability. So that is what I'm working on at the minute, and I'm looking for hosts to come and talk to. So I'm sure you'll be there at some point. And yeah, it's really lovely to add that element into the business. It's fun. It's basically just fun. It's just conversations. It's called Women Inspired Networking Conversations, and it is just talking about networking. It is telling people what it's really like, giving people tips on what to say rather than saying, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? You know, have something substantial to say. Like it's going to help people feel more confident going to networking events. We're going to chat to people about their businesses because we're all about that as well. We're all about community and shouting people out. So hearing people's business stories, because if they've done it, you can do it. So that's really, really exciting. And we are expanding by the minute. So we're kind of encroaching on the Norfolk border this afternoon, and also soon to be the Essex border. So we're kind of going East Anglia at the moment. We're already in Cambridge, we're already all over Suffolk. And to be honest, when you have one event in Suffolk, for example, the one that I did my first ever event in Bury St Edmunds, I had 45 people. The moment you add another location, you dilute that or the amount of attendees because people will naturally probably only come to one over the other. And now having 10, the fact that we can get 15 to 20 people at nearly every event at 10 locations across Suffolk, really, is just mind blowing. So yeah, so we are approaching the Cambridge, we're approaching the Norfolk, and we're also approaching the Essex borders as well. So it will just expand like crazy.
Brilliant. Dominating East Anglia. I absolutely love that. Fantastic. Now, I've got a question wrapping up that I always like to ask all of my guests. And we've already talked a huge amount already about being unapologetic as a mummy business, and everything that you do is very much based on that. So, is there anything that you would like to add to that? The question I normally ask is, what does being an unapologetic mompreneur mean to you? And how are you showing up unapologetically every day, both as a mum and as the boss of your business?
So I would say I'm very unapologetic on social media. A lot of people shy away from telling people what they do on social media. They think they're being spammy. They think they're being salesy. They think, oh, people don't want to hear me go on about that again. I don't care. I go on and on and on about my business, online, in person. And I think it's from working for a company to working for myself, I'm all in. This is not like a sideline for me anymore. It used to be a sideline where I could earn a very little amount of money, let's be honest, when you're working for someone else. But now I'm all in. This is me. So those people that you're worried about, that might be judging you when they hear what you do, going on and on, like they might be saying, oh, she's going on about that again. They don't pay my bills. They do not pay my bills. I'm going to be able to take my kids to Disney. I'm going to be able to do all the stuff. And my kids are going to be saying, Mummy paid for that with her business. They don't worry about what anyone else thinks. Do what you like. And I always say this with parenting as well. I breastfed both my children. I still breastfeed Clemmy, but I breastfed Winston up until he was 6. No, don't like let anybody's judgment get in the way. If you want to live your life a certain way, you do that. You do you. Don't worry about anybody else. Be unapologetic in everything, in parenting, in business, everything, because it will align with you and you will get so much further than what you would if you try and stick yourself in a box and make yourself small.
Love that. That is such a fantastic way to wrap up. Thank you so much for this. I could literally chat with you for hours about this. I just love how passionate you are. Just been amazing just watching your journey over the past 2-3 years, and it's just incredible. So where can people find you? We'll make sure that all the links are in the show notes, but just so people want to go and stalk you, check you out, go and say hello now, go and listen to the podcast. Where can people find you and find out more about Women Inspired?
So I would say the website, www.womeninspirednetwork.com. We're also on Facebook as a Facebook community. So Women Inspired Network, networking for women in business. And Instagram is women_inspired_network.
Yeah, amazing. We will make sure that all of the links are in the show notes. So go check out Martina, go and see if there is an event near you, when it's happening next. Go and listen to the podcast. Go and check out all these things, because she is an absolute amazing powerhouse of a network business owner and just so amazingly friendly. And you're right, you just attract the most incredible people every time. So thank you so much for being on the show. I really, really love this. And I know that everybody's been listening. If they've not been sure about networking before or decided it's for them, I know this is the episode that's going to change their mind. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. So that's it for today. Thank you everybody who's been listening on the podcast, watching on YouTube, and I cannot wait to catch up with you in the next episode. Bye for now. Thank you so much for joining me for another installment of the Unapologetic Mompreneur podcast. If you like what you heard, be sure to hit that subscribe button so that you never miss an episode. And if you have a moment, I would love for you to leave me a rating and a review so that other mompreneurs can find this podcast too. Here's to unapologetically becoming the mum, wife, biz owner, and woman you know you are meant and deserve to be. I can't wait to chat with you in the next episode. Bye for now.